Hello and welcome to the Larger Than Necessary First Player Token podcast. This is episode 55. My name is Chris.
That was abrupt, and I'm Euan.
Yes.
I'm Pawel.
Yeah, I just kind of threw you into that there. I didn't even say we'd started recording. I just went, let's go. Doing it.
Didn't even see you press a button. Right?
Doing it.
Sneaked up on us. It's fine. We're prepared.
This
I'm
episode
prepared.
might not even
Are we
happen,
prepared?
Pawel.
Okay, that's fine.
It's definitely happening.
Alright.
Oh my god, this is on air. Alright, let's go for it.
It's okay, this is the delayed video games episode, I think, because it's been delayed because our last episode was delayed, so it's having a knock-on effect.
Are they all delayed in some way?
They're all going to be delayed.
Oh, that's fine.
It's like the current rail system in Britain.
Ah, yeah.
Everything's delayed.
One train bumps into another.
That's it.
And then they all just...
That's it.
The knock-on effect. Like a domino rally.
I think we're just heading towards politics again, aren't we?
Oh, obviously, just nationalise everything.
There we go.
And then everybody has an excuse to moan about the government. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
We're looking to get podcasts nationalised.
Yeah, exactly.
We're campaigning on that platform.
Maybe you nationalised, Pawel.
No, that would have to be a communistic podcast.
Imagine having to pay taxes just because of Pawel.
No, that would mean we would actually have to drug every single person we can find here to do an episode. It would be a duty.
I'm not sure that's what nationalising means.
I'm sure that this is how a communistic
Well, I mean, I suppose it
podcast
generally
would work.
comes down to being, whether Pawel's is deemed to be in the national interest. And if he is, then, cost it out, and the taxpayers will pay their due. Will
Please,
pay their rates.
Listeners, write in and tell us if you think that Pawel is within the national interests. Okay.
I myself think I'm a bit of a national treasure. I'm just not sure which nation actually wants me.
Which nation or which treasure?
What kind of treasure?
Okay, let's get back to the video games. I'm saying back, we've not even started.
No.
Oh, well, I suppose
it's
it's been a while since we've talked about any in this position.
I'm glad we got our weekly politics out of the way there, because usually we do it halfway through.
I feel there's still some left in my system.
You
But
think
let's
so?
try it. Let's try it.
Well, if Pawel has the energy to make tenuous links with other people's game selections and communism, then...
That's fine. I'll try.
He does do that.
You guys talk about video games. I'll be waiting for the moment to just cut in with some sort of political remark.
I'm still not sure which side of the political fence you're sitting on, to be honest, but
What?
I'm just really
Who
confused by
says the
it.
fence is political? Or is everything political these
I think the
days?
fence itself.
Right. Oh, the fence is...
The fence is the cause of
fence is standing there
politics.
going,
It's
politics.
barriers, Euan. It's barriers.
yeah.
That's what
Don't
divides
sit
us.
on me, I'm a fence.
Video games. That's why we're here.
Oh yeah, let's talk about some video games. I want to give a quick update on a couple of
Do you
things
now?
before we get started.
Oh, he's
Oh
good.
yeah,
Chris wants to brag about his trophies.
I'm not going to brag about my trophies. Well, I am a wee bit, but no, I actually wanted to ask Pawel because our last video games episode I talked about Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Hello.
So I actually want to ask Pawel. You did have a go.
Yes.
And I actually want to know what you think about it. Or, well, I know, but I want the people to know.
The people are what's the worst and the best in this game. And the worst aspect is if you're having social anxieties like me, and you're being forced to play this expecting the worst. Because that's what people are. People are the worst. However, you then start playing Star Trek The Bridge. Is that the name of it?
Star
yeah?
Trek Bridge Crew.
That's the thing. And you
Star
realise
Trek The Bridge.
you're surrounded by a bunch of lovely people that are having just, like... Most of them have probably never even tried it or are trying second or third time, so everybody is slightly timid. People that sort of got the hang of it are bold enough to maybe take the lead, but everyone's nice, courteous, well-mannered, just like Captain Picard would be, and Data and whoever. Maybe no Klingons as such around. I had an amazing time, I must say. I had no idea what I was doing, because I just kept looking around, and some crew members kept making various gestures with their simulated hands. Those as well, yes, those gestures too, and most other gestures that you can think of, because all you can do really, I think, is look around and move your hands in this game. You can't
Pretty much,
really-
yeah.
Although when you're, I think, Chris, you've mentioned this, when you're talking, your character as such is also making whatever...
Yeah, the mouth moves.
Yeah, and you know what? That actually looks pretty convincing, I must say.
It's actually really good. It's particularly funny when somebody's eating.
Yeah.
You come into the chat room and they're going... Which my response was to start doing it back at them.
You know why I think that this game is so good when it comes to the actual multiplayer and other people playing it? So you're not getting, like, complete arseholes coming in shouting abuse at people. It's because, actually, winning and losing in this game really doesn't matter. People don't really care if you win or lose in this game. It doesn't really... That's been my experience so far. It's because the missions are so short, and really people are just there to experience...
I think
the Star
experience
Trek
is the
world.
key word here, yes.
And it's because that's what it is. It's an experience that you're controlling.
And I'm going to say this is exactly what it was. You put yourself on the bridge, you look around, you're wondering how many sort of differences you can spot between whatever you've watched in the past, how things have been done, how it emulates what you've seen on screen. So this is all just essentially just comparing. But I had really good fun playing it.
Well, one of the things as well, I mean, I suppose getting down to the psychology of it, like certain games produce that kind of stressful, everything about Star Trek Bridge Crew, even when things are getting on top of you, it's still very leisurely paced.
Yeah.
Nothing ever makes you feel stressed, particularly in this game. So there's less opportunity for people to get wound up and start being abusive, I think.
I think so.
Despite the negative attention that sort of gamer types and geeky types get, I think most of them that are into Star Trek buy into the inclusive utopian ideal of Star Trek. I think just even starting up the game, your brain just clicks with it and goes, aye, that's what the future's like.
Yeah. Space communism.
Aye.
See,
all the blacks and the gays and the Chinese and the communists. And
It hurts me when
all
you
get
when you
together.
use the word utopia and inclusive in the same sentence. It's like it just hurts.
It's just that's what Star Trek is, though, isn't it?
What? Okay, well,
Fully
that's
automated luxury space gay communism.
Okay.
I think this should be a subtitle. Let's shoot another Star Trek film with this subtitle.
Brutally honest Star Trek. Okay.
But yeah, I'd love to give it another go once I actually know what to do, because for some reason all I could focus on was actually experiencing things rather than doing things, and it took me a while to actually realize that all these dials and valves and whatever other levers I had around, I should be moving just like you do in Job Simulator. For some reason, just didn't click in my mind straight away. So I had to speed up, and oh my god, how I've tried like 5 times to speed up before I actually managed. And if I failed, and that was brilliant, because normally in a ship like this, you'd probably you'd get demoted or something, or thrown in a brig. Whereas you screwed up, and you hear this just completely relaxed captain say, "Yeah, engineering, just give us power again," or something like this.
Yeah.
Just everybody assumes that you don't know what you're doing because you're just looking around, completely clueless, and others can see you look around, which is what I was doing. And yeah, nobody cared. Everybody had fun. Excellent. Well done.
Yeah, you were terrified of it at first.
Jesus.
You really, really, really didn't want to play it, and I just sat you down, and I wouldn't let you leave the flat until you actually did play it.
Can I just point out that
and you loved it.
Chris has a terrible, terrible approach to learning anything at all. Anything, in fact, I'm sure that this is true, by just choosing to jump into the deep water straight away.
Deep end.
Now, games have such a thing as a tutorial. Now, I've tried it a few times. Chris is like, just come on, just have a look. You take a controller from him. You know what? You're done for, because there's no tutorial for you. You're suddenly surrounded by a multiplayer. Everything's shooting at you, and things are expected from you. Jesus.
Moves you
That's
on
how
10
you learn.
levels and then gives you the controller back.
Yeah, that's it. That's how you learn.
So learn or die.
Yeah.
I see.
That's my philosophy in life.
Fair enough. No,
Excuse me, sir, are you learning anything? Bad news for you, I'm afraid.
So hence a little bit of a stress at the beginning, but I've survived.
You did it, man. You did it.
I did it.
You did it. Well done.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
The reason I brought that up, and as Euan said, it was just an excuse for me to say that I'm like one trophy away from getting the platinum. So if anybody wants to help me in the Kobayashi Maru mission, please do. Please do. Please do.
If I had my own helmet, I would. Wait a second.
No.
Chris likes his trophies.
Always the helmet jokes when it comes to VR.
Well, it has to be done.
Here,
Really,
you want to go with my helmet? Right, I just want to get one other VR thing out of the way before we let Euan talk about his game. Just to say that I've been playing a bit more of Farpoint. I've had time off work recently, and it's amazing how many games you can cram in when you're not having to do anything.
So you must be getting pretty far.
I think I'm near the end.
Are you starting to determine whether this is a game yet?
Yes, I think so.
Have you made a judgment?
The only reason I've brought it up is because there has been a couple of pretty cool moments in it, and what I've played recently. Much better than what's been going on at the start of it. I don't think the story's really not surprising me still, but there are still better moments in the game. It's got a lot harder. It's not just the same little spiders skittering about the place. There's other things that are starting to happen.
There's larger variety of enemies.
Yeah, bigger variety of enemies. The difficulty's ramped up quite a bit. Sort of cooler sort of levels as well. I've found myself inside a sort of almost like a factory thing at one point as well, where they're basically building a lot of big robot things and stuff like that. Some of that was pretty cool. But I've died a hell of a lot in these later levels and everything, so it's getting more fun. I'm glad I bought it. I say that it has been fun so far.
It's like even the predictable elements of the story, they're kind of like cool sci-fi ideas.
Yeah,
and you're sort of like, well, you've worked it out, but you're also like, oh, it's cool that's part of the story. That is what the story is, rather than being like, oh, that's predictable. You're actually just quite happy that they've like put that much effort into it.
So yeah, I'm still enjoying Farpoint. Like I say, I think I'm near the end of it. Got some more cool weapons as well. There's a spike launcher thing. Literally firing spikes into things, and then you can blow them up with the press of a button.
Dead Space,
great fun.
Remember Dead Space and all the spikes?
See, I never played Dead Space.
Oh man,
Never ever played Dead Space.
Yeah,
plenty of different spikes in Dead Space. Excellent stuff.
So yeah, I just wanted to. That was a quick VR update. That's just what I've been doing with my time and what Pawel's been doing with Star Trek and enjoying it.
Impaling stuff in VR.
Yeah,
Dead Space was all about the launcher things, whatever they were called. The sort of like they weren't but they looked like a crossbow, but they fired like a straight bolt. Because the whole thing was
mining tools,
cutting off the limbs of things, basically.
Yeah. And cutting off limbs was more important than actually killing things.
Like impaling a thing on the wall is not much use if it's just going to wriggle off of the spike and start coming at you again.
We should probably review that space.
Yeah, maybe
we'll
talk about that at some point. But
Dead Space special.
Well, I've been playing a wee game that is supposedly set in space.
Okay.
I've been playing a very, very old school style RPG. Now it was made last year, and it's called Void Pyramid, and this is pretty much the archetypal sort of indie game because everything about this game is sort of down to one guy. He's produced it, but come up with the story. He's made it all on existing sort of editors, and he's got a history of doing this kind of stuff. A guy called Andy Hagen, he published his stuff under. And this game of his has kind of caught on. He's got one other one, a similar style of RPG called Ramble Planet. And this one also, Ramble Planet and this one, Void Pyramid, are both on Steam now. They've gone through the greenlight process, and I think they got sort of put up pretty quickly because they were, fairly simple, well-designed games. So yeah, Void Pyramid is an interesting premise. It's the idea is that you're in a sort of dystopian future where it's sort of like Egypt, the Egyptian Empire has kind of taken over the world, and
the ancient Egyptian.
Yeah, so it's like the prime pharaoh is the ruler of the wastelands of Earth. It's all in the blurb there, but there's a bit more story is sort of like thrown in through the game. So the prime pharaoh rules over Earth and the wastelands of old Earth, and all political dissidents and criminals are all sent to this void pyramid. which I gather is just like, and it does appear to be, from what I've been playing through, it's like it is an ancient pyramid, but just with like sci-fi ideas that are thrown through it. So it's like it's a really odd sort of mash-up setting. Like, you're in this sort of, you see, you'll be reading hieroglyphics and stuff, but they'll be going on about like street punk gangs that are in this particular area, and like,
excellent.
The enemies are kind of themed around sort of Egyptian, gods, like set
So
animals
it's
and things
Egypt
like
punk.
that. Egypt punk, yeah, definitely. So I thought this would capture your imagination, because you do quite like a sci-fi setting with a weird.
Yeah. Mashups like this are usually quite cool.
And it's a really nice, quite addictive game. It's an RPG, so it's got all the sort of general trappings of that. Random enemy encounters. Bosses are optional in this. It's quite interesting. I mean, bosses you'll find on the map, but you won't just be thrown into a fight with them, because some of them can be quite a lot stronger than you quite early on in the game. So they're all pretty much optional. So if I would have one criticism, is maybe that there should be a few surprises thrown in there. But that said, I've started the game several times and I've yet to actually complete it, because I keep starting it with different. There's 3 different classes you can start as. So you've got soldier, slave, or scribe, and the way these kind of affect your character setup is kind of, the stats are very basic. So you've got your health, and that's just in hit points. There's not like a life stat that puts that up separately. You put points directly into hit points, and then you've got attack and defense. And that's it for your sort of combat stats. And then you've got 3 other stats. You've got brawn, wits, and agility. And some of them do have effects on battle, like a high brawn level will give a higher chance of insta-killing stuff, so you just encounter things that will just kill it outright and get the reward. Higher agility will give you a higher chance to flee from fights. And you might not think that's important, but it kind of is, depending on how you play the game. Wits increases your ability to get loot from fights. Now, you'll always get money, Debin. I don't know if that's like an old currency or something like that, or this is something they've just made up.
And Debenhams.
Yeah, Debenhams, aye. And so you might get a certain amount of money for killing. Usually, if you've got a high wit, you'll always get at least some money, even for really low level enemies that don't give you any other rewards. There's a chance that you'll get sort of items from enemies, and there's also a chance you'll get stat increases from enemies.
Oh, nice.
So
no experience as such.
There's no experience. There's no leveling up, but there are set sort of levels of enemies. So you'll go into certain rooms, and in the top right hand corner of each room, or usually on the wall, there'll be say enemy level 1 or something like that. So you could kind of gauge your combat against. So, but you don't need to really. You just need to know that you can survive in a certain area. In
regards to what you see on screen, like user interface, are we talking about something like ancient Final Fantasies?
Oh, yeah, it's like top down. It's probably older than that. It's like proper old school 8-bit RPG. I mean, this is the most advanced looking of his games. He's made several of these, and this one has probably got the most like advanced artwork. It's the sort of thing that, like, for people who don't get on with that sort of thing, they would hate it, because if you either you like the gameplay and you can deal with the graphics, or you just can't.
This is perfect. I'm showing Pawel some screenshots here, and this is just like that really, really, really old school RPG.
Aye. Oh, the text
in a nutshell, basically.
Cat
Assassin uses deadly venom. Full stop. You die. Full stop.
Oh, it's very, very quick. But there's also occasionally like really interesting, like fun bits of like dialogue as well, and like the graffiti and signs that you find about the place are quite amusing. There's been a lot of thought put into that, and the daft setting of it.
Well, it's got cat assassins and deadly venoms.
Yeah. I thought like actually it might have been the cat assassin. I don't know. There was definitely something with like a similar. That might be one of the bosses actually.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got a great little soundtrack which you can download separately. I was just playing you some little bits of it there. And that's you can access all that from there is a website you set up for it. It's voidpyramid.com, or you can get you can download the game on Steam. It's also, I've been playing it today actually on the mobile app just because I was having some difficulties with running it on the computer, and it's perfectly good app as well. There's I think there's an app for his previous game. What is it called now again? I keep forgetting. I've written so much on here. Ramble Planet. Yeah, there's an app for that, and there's an app for this one, Void Pyramid. So you can pick that up on Google Play, iTunes, that sort of thing. I mean, he's created various of these games using now. This is a long acronym. OHRRPGCE comes up at the start of the game, and it's Official Hamster Republic Role Playing Game Creation Engine.
Okay. Of course it is.
Yeah. A piece of freeware that's been knocking about since 1997. And I don't know, this guy Andy Haggins seems to like using these kind of like pre-made engines to kind of see what he can do with them, and it's obviously someone with the ideas to kind of put into these things. And I've been reading a lot of his blog. I may review some more games over the coming weeks because there's definitely some stuff in there that just looks hilarious. He's done a few sort of like, he's used Twine that lets you sort of create non-linear stories to make like choose your own adventure stories, and I started one of them earlier on, and from what I could tell just from the first few things, it's like this has been well designed. Obviously the Twine thing's quite powerful, and it's, you know, it's got things like, you know, you can have inventory, you can pick up items as you go, and you can go back to different points and things like that. I started one called Nuclear Fire at Castle Treachery. I mean, this guy's ideas are just insane. I mean, I was looking at some of his other choose your own adventure ones. You've got Big City Interactive Fate Machine, which is like you just playing through the fate of some person in a dystopian city. The other one, which I genuinely want to have a go at, it's like an adult, like erotic sort of fiction one, but then I was reading the blurb for it, and it's like you can go. It's called, and I'm just the name alone I absolutely love, Silver Spooning.
Oh no!
Now the game name's Silver Spooning: Close Encounters with Mr. Right.
Oh.
And then the idea is that you're playing a woman who's like sort of recently divorced and trying to look for some intrigue, and is going on, and it's specifically a dating site for the unscrupulously rich. It's called Silver Spooning. I just think that's a brilliant bit.
That's good actually. I
do like that.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And from the description of it, it's like it starts off with that premise, but it could go to some very strange places. So I'm interested in that.
I like the fact that you've kind of developed an obsession with this guy.
I have, yeah. Well, I spent the last like half hour before we were recording this just like trying to, because it's quite difficult to find the information you need to, because it's just like it's all on random websites. You'd actually be interested in this, Pawel. He's produced a few supplement rules for various RPGs, including Labyrinth Lord, and Mutant Future. Don't know if you're aware of either of these.
Not heard
they
of
do
these.
Seem to be quite obscure, but also very popular among the right kind of people, from what I can tell.
Someone tells me that this guy would go for the more obscure ones.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's worth having a look at his blog actually, because the art style that he uses for these, like the sort of the supplement books, he has created like sort of covers for them, and they look. It's reminiscent of that sort of, I don't know if there's a particular style you'd call it, but it's that sort of like punk, grunge kind of 90s like psychedelic sort of style, like, you know, that bit from the Beavis and Butthead Do America where they're out in the desert and they start tripping. It's basically that sort of thing, but mixed with sort of traditional RPG stuff. So he's, you know, you'll have like a picture like a knight in armour or whatever, like, but in a slightly weird drawing, and then like crazy turquoise multicoloured tentacles got all over the place and stuff like that. It's a really cool mix. Yeah, his stuff's worth checking out, and Void Pyramid's a lot of fun as well. Like, it's apparently I've looked up, it's generally about a 5-hour completion time. So if it's a casual one, you could just stick on your phone and rattle through over a couple of days if you're bored. Although that said, it's quite difficult to turn off all the sound effects on it, so you have to have your volume right down if you're playing it on a train or something like that, because it plays very loud sound effects even if you turn the music off.
So what's it called? The actual program or whatever the game's been made in? Twine or?
But that Twine's been used for these sort of choose your own adventure story things. They're all browser based, and you can get them from his blog, or you can have a quick click onto them. They're worth a look. But this, for the RPG stuff, it is this official Hamster Republic role-playing game creation engine. It's a long... I don't know if there doesn't appear to be an abbreviation to that anywhere, apart from the acronym, which is just as bad. OHRR PGCE. I can't even get it right. So yeah.
Well, thanks for that, Euan.
Aye,
that was
a bit of bizarre.
I feel a bit richer
I
now.
tracked down into the bizarre there. So that's Void Pyramid by Andrew
Hagen.
Hagen, something
I've got
like that.
Andy A-N-D-I.
A-N-D-I.
And I was trying to work out if this is a bloke or a woman. I think I've narrowed it down to a bloke. Because
Right.
I found, I searching for A. Hagen and Andy Hagen, I managed to find...
So you're stalking this
Oh,
person?
I managed to find some like shorts, a collection of short stories by various people, and there was one by this person, and then there was a wee blurb, he is from this place or whatever like that. Really good short story, actually. So yeah, I am accidentally stalking this person. I'm just interested in their output, alright? I want to consume their content.
Okay, well, thanks very much. Got to move on. So, one thing I'll say, I went on the PlayStation store just like last week, realising that I hadn't downloaded this month's PlayStation Plus freebies. And there's a pretty good selection on there this month. So it includes things like Killing Floor 2's there, which I might talk about in a future episode. I'm not going to talk about it in this episode, but that's your everybody's favourite squad-based zombie slaying surviving waves game.
Oh,
there's also all the episodes of the Life is Strange, which, Pawel, you know more about than I do, but it's a story-driven.
Oh yes, yeah. It's 5 episodes worth of high school girl rewinding time, and just that's pretty much all I can say until we get into proper review. But
Yep.
it's got a proper cult following, and it's definitely one of the top games in the genre.
Indeed it is. There's a lot of people have been talking about that, but we're not going to talk about that one either, because what we're going to talk about is a top-down cyberpunk roguelike shooter called Neon Chrome. Obviously.
Pawel's choice.
Because I think out of all the games there, me and Pawel have chosen this one as being the best.
If you're ever given a choice between whatsoever and something that's got neon and chrome and in the name, then it's not a choice. I mean, it's a duty.
Indeed. So, yeah, this game, like I say, it's a cyberpunk roguelike. I think technically it's a roguelite, not like,
Yeah.
but whatever. Now, the whole idea behind Neon Chrome is that in fact, I have no idea what the whole idea behind Neon Chrome is, to be honest. I think I accidentally skipped the opening sequence.
There should be some kind of...
There's something going on here anyway. So what I can get from it is that you're climbing a building which is called Neon Chrome, and you're doing that, not climbing it on the outside, you're climbing it on the inside. You're going up various lifts. So the whole idea on each level of the building is to find the lift and get upstairs. Now, there's about 30 levels in the game, and when you get to the top, you've got to confront somebody called the Overseer. I've never got to that point in it yet, but that's the whole idea. There are little sort of story beats as you go through. Now, there are certain... So it's a roguelike game, so like the levels are randomly generated, but there are certain levels in the game that are preset and will always be there. I checked this out, and apparently, yeah, that's true. Which give you a little story beat, so you find out a little bit more. Like the guy that built Neon Chrome's 140 years old and still going strong. Neon Chrome's got 1 million people in the entire arcology, inside the entire building, blah blah blah.
Nice.
But there's all sorts of sinister stuff going on, because this is a cyberpunk game.
Yeah.
Okay, there's sinister stuff, and you are playing some little guy who can get into a chair which is called, what's it called again? The immersion chair. Which lets
My kind of chair.
Yeah, which lets you take control of some people that looks like they've been cryogenically frozen. So you take control of them. You get to choose which class you are. So the idea is that you're choosing a specific person to go and do this bit of the game for you. So they all have different classes. There are things like I've completely forgotten, hacker, corporate soldier. There's cyber psycho. There's techie, different things like that. And this is, like I say, it's a shooter game, so they'll come equipped with different guns. They'll have a different special ability, but they're generally things like just firing rockets or being able to shoot all the way around you in one go.
We should probably add that when we say shooter, we mean top down. It's
top down.
Yeah, first person.
It's not first person or anything yet. It's a top down shooter.
So one stick for movement, one stick for
for aiming. Yeah. So it's like Helldivers.
Or Alienation,
Alienation, stuff like that. So you're aiming with one stick and shooting with the other. Now this, I'm pretty sure, is out in the PC as well. So I don't know how it works in the PC. It's probably just mouse controlled for aiming. But yes, it is there. But that's going to cost you money, Pavel. It's free on PlayStation Plus right now.
I like my Steam though.
You do like your Steam.
And the sale is coming up.
Well, see, you're really weird with your PlayStation though. Like, you're the only person I know that leaves the controller plugged in when you play.
Well, yeah, because my eyesight is poor, so I might as well.
So you're sitting an inch away from the TV.
Pretty much, yes. I use my TV like a radiator, just, get a bit of a suntan from it.
Okay, so yeah, you're running about just shooting the crap out of things. And it's various, security guards. There's different types of enemies. There's some of them are like little spider bot things. There's turrets and stuff like that you can blow up, but the general idea is that you're running around picking up cash from loot boxes, hacking things. If you're a hacker, you can hack bigger loot boxes and stuff and get more and more money, and you just want to find the lift in every level and get the hell out of there, so you can get up. Now the game, unlike a lot of roguelikes where you have to go back and start the whole thing again, it lets you, the game's divided into chapters, and you can start at whatever chapter you want, and it's really just a certain floor in the building. So when you get to the end of a chapter, it looks like there's going to be a boss at the end of every chapter. I had to fight some massive robotic spider thing as the final boss in level 4, I think it was. So that was fun. Now the game's it's pretty fast-paced.
Oh, yeah.
I would say it's pretty unforgiving.
More so, I think, than the others, because for whatever reason, in both the Helldivers and Alienation, the movement of enemies was more predictable. I don't know why. Maybe because Helldivers more open spaces, Alienation sort of stupider beasts walking towards you, whereas in this there's a lot of walls around you, a lot of rooms. all the spaces are quite constrained. Some of the walls are destructible. Quite a lot of other items just clutter these floors. So and the enemies and yourself move fairly fast. So yeah, it's dynamic.
So it's like fighting through an office building, isn't it? Because it's almost like everything's split into offices. It's kind of weird.
But
you should try that at your work, Pavel.
But there's gonna come a day. Yeah.
Pavel's going to go in cyberpunk
on a rampage. Yeah. I think that's a fantasy of quite a lot of us.
Yeah, get your cyber enhancements on the go. Get your 56k modem plugged into your neck.
Sounds good to me.
Speaking of which, you do get enhancements in this game because it's a cyberpunk game. You've got to have enhancements. So there's various pods lying about in some of the levels that you can drop into and get an enhancement. And the enhancements are just things like, it might give you 50% health or larger magazine sizes. There's also ones that do like extra melee damage. Just your kind of standard fare, I think, for these kind of games. And you can unlock new weapons as you go through. You find them in loot boxes, that unlocks them, which means that you're more likely to find them again later. You can also, in between levels, you can spend any of the credits that you've picked up. Once you die, you go back to a sort of main hub area where your immersion chair is, and you can spend money to upgrade your stats so that you start each level with doing more damage or with more health or with more energy.
So it's your stats as such, but you're technically speaking overtaking some bodies within the building.
Yes.
Alright.
But that's all answered by... It's like in fantasy settings, a wizard did it. In a cyberpunk setting, it's just, technology did it.
It's fine. Let's have it your way.
Oh, come on.
No, it's okay.
What's your argument here?
No, I'm not saying it isn't this way in the game. I'm just saying it's a bit unfair to compare, but it's okay.
What?
That's not I don't think that's an unfair comparison.
No. Your science fiction, any science fiction genre will at least try to explain things in a plausible way. Whereas
cyberpunk in particular takes a lot of liberties with that.
Yes, I fully agree, but still, you will lose your immersion if something is just out of this world or magic-like.
That's right. I don't think immersion something
even
you have.
Shadowrun, which actually has magic in it, will still attempt to be fully
Yeah, but
pseudo science fiction. Pseudo scientific.
There's a difference between sort of not explaining something, and then like having something that's maybe doesn't fit like the real world science, but at least has an in-world logic that makes whatever insane thing makes sense in that world. But this is just...
Having said that,
at the end of the day, it's just a roguelike cyberpunk shooter.
See, this is why I predicted upon seeing this, is like, Pawel will initially like this game, but then his interest will drop off, because it's not...
No. I'm getting it when I get back home.
It's a fun game to play, but it's not particularly deep in terms of its...
Oh no, it's not.
Story and sort of... the theme's there in terms of like how it looks. It's got cyberpunky.
Sometimes that's enough, or almost enough. I remember playing a good couple days the Helldivers one, because it was very well polished, and I suppose it had enough content to keep you going, keep unlocking new stuff, and it was just a fun game. But yeah, I suppose give it a couple days and then you just move on. It might just be this way with this game, so yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe just pick it up on PSN where it's for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Well, I'm glad we've cleared this up.
Yeah, we have.
One thing I will say about this game, Pawel, and you're probably going to agree with me here, alright, is that for something that's procedurally generated, the levels are actually pretty well... They're pretty good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, pretty well weighed out and everything.
Well, I've only seen maybe, 2 floors, 3 floors?
Yeah. Well, I saw a few more than that, but all the floors are kind of similar in that sense.
Yeah.
I think in general we've seen a nice progression in all the engines, all the algorithms people use to make roguelikes or roguelites, because that other roguelite you played recently, the one with the one-eyed
Honey Monster.
That's another example of excellent floor design.
Yes, and in fact, I'm going to talk about that in our next episode.
Right, sorry.
Because I want to play that some more. That's unexplored, by the way.
Yeah.
That's something I'm playing on PC, and that's another roguelike, and that's excellent. That's a really, really good roguelike. But yeah, this game does have all the same roguelike trappings, if you will, because it does have all there's slightly puzzly elements in terms of you've got to go and find a key to open this door, but the game's always generated in a way that it's not impossible for you to go and find a key to open a particular door. You just may have to go a roundabout way to get it. And there's also switches and all these kind of things. It's got all those roguelike things in it. But the levels are designed really well for something that's randomly generated. I really like it. And the fact that the environment, a lot of the environment is destructible, including the walls, just makes for some interesting things. I mean, we were having a great laugh, Pawel, when it was just like, I can't be bothered walking all the way around there. Just shotgun the whole wall down and walk through.
Has a good feeling to it, yes. How does it work with the hacker not being in the team? And
well, the hacker isn't a necessary person to have in the team. It's just that the hacker can open bigger loot boxes, so that you can get more money and more energy.
So if you're playing solo...
I like to play as the hacker because it means, especially at the beginning of the game, because I'm wanting to get as much money as I can at the beginning of the game so I can upgrade all my stats as quickly as possible to then...
And there's no save game or anything like this every single time you actually start this game?
No, the game saves. The game saves. This is what I mean. So this is where, when the game's split into chapters, you can go and start at a certain chapter. So I'll always start now... Well, I don't have to. I can go back and start at the beginning if I want. But I can always start on level 5 now, I think it is.
Because you reached it.
Because I reached level 4 and killed the boss.
That's cool.
So yeah, like I say, it's split into chapters and it keeps all your stats that you've upgraded and everything like that. So
we should probably also mention the more unusual feature of this game, which is it's got a 4-player co-op, which is local only.
Yeah, it's local co-op only. You can play it single player, I have been. But I feel like the game... really, I mean, when you guys joined in with me, I really, really enjoyed that. I thought the game was much better for it.
Games like this exist because of
but the fact that there is no online co-op just really perplexes me, and I don't know why. If that's a deliberate choice or not, I have no idea. Maybe they just didn't have the money for it. Who knows?
Quite possible. But, I mean, presumably it's just a case of putting whatever you've done with the local ones. So, yeah.
But the local co-op was really, really good.
I mean, having local co-op is always a great thing, to be fair. It's just nowadays people take online co-op for granted and keep shouting for local co-op. Once you get a local co-op without an online one, that's strange.
It's utterly bizarre.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Neon Chrome. I'm really wanting to say it's even though you've got Killing Floor 2 and you've got Life is Strange there for free on PlayStation Plus this month, I think Neon Chrome's the best out of them. But that's just me. I love roguelikes, so
you've not played Life is Strange. Which
I haven't
is
played Life
supposed
is
to
Strange
be,
yet, and
like at the top of its game, and this is one of those games I'm really just setting aside for this one time when I can just solely play it without any distractions.
See, I'm wondering if I'll get started on that, because I think 5 episodes of Life is Strange is probably going to be quite long, and I don't know if I've really got the time for it, because there's so many other things I could be playing instead.
I suppose.
And it's no, I don't want to detract from the game at all. I just think it's not really my kind of thing. So we'll see. We'll see though. I might give it a go and see how it goes.
I'm definitely just getting Neon Chrome as soon as I get back home. It's got cyberpunk, man.
Okay, well, let's wrap that one up there. That's Neon Chrome. That is by 10 Tons Limited. It came out on the 28th of April 2016, so it's actually more than a year old now. But that's on PS4, Xbox One, Linux, Macintosh, and PC. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's move on again. Pavel, it's your turn to talk about something. So what else? What have you been playing other than Neon Chrome here?
I've not played it yet. Well, I've played it a bit. Right. We have talked about a good couple of weeks ago. Okay, let's say a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it was a couple of months ago.
Yeah. We've talked about the Beast Within, a Gabriel Knight mystery, which is a sequel to the original Gabriel Knight Sins of the Fathers, a Sierra point-and-click adventure game. So I was thinking today I would quickly talk about the remake of the original Gabriel Knight Sins of the Fathers, which is called Gabriel Knight Sins of the Fathers 20th Anniversary Edition. Yeah, I should really say that especially Beast Within is one of my most sort of precious games. Always kept it close to heart, meant a lot to me. Loved it, and I truly believe that it's one of the best point and clicks out there. Even though a very unusual idea of having actors do pretty much everything in this game, it was a sort of one-way street in the evolution of point-and-click games. At some point, we got a couple of really good point-and-clicks with actors, and then point-and-clicks died soon after Phantasmagoria, after Beast Within, after, I think, a few others. But Sins of the Fathers is a remake of another Gabriel Knight title, that is considered a classic, but that was in 1993, so back then you wouldn't have any high-end graphics. You would have mostly pixelated characters walking about your screen. You could barely tell which character had blonde hair and which didn't. So in that era, lovely times, yeah. Sins of the Fathers stood out. It was one of the best games back then in that particular genre. And seeing a remake of it, I welcome with mixed feelings. I'm usually quite open to remakes, and I obviously quite often get disappointed by them, because this is just the age we live in, when you have to just release whatever. Minority Report, no, sorry, what was it with the Total Recall, Robocop, various remakes of beloved sci-fi classics, which just are okay, but
kind of missed the
can't
point.
compare with the classic. And I think Sins of the Father's 20th anniversary is sort of same-ish in this regard, because the graphics are so much better. As in, you get your environments still fully sort of painted, but obviously in a much better resolution. But you get all your characters rendered in 3D and walking about, and that would be great. And they actually were fairly well done, but unfortunately, a few bugs here and there means I suppose, lowered aesthetic appeal if your character is sitting in a chair and you click on something just to look it up, because that's what you do in point and clicks. You just click around your whatever's on screen at the moment, just look at various items or interact with them. But if your character is currently sitting at a chair, he or she's just going to stand up and then sit down straight away because somebody just screwed up a bit of animation. So it's a tiny detail, but the original didn't have problems like this because it was pixel times. You didn't have to really render full characters. You didn't think about it. The original had some really nice sort of motion comic book-like cutscenes, and this one's got really nice cutscenes done in the same way and quite faithful to the original and taking it further, and some really nice art there, so well done on this. But there is a bit of a problem in the fact that Gabriel Knight... As a peculiar character, you get used to his sort of quirks and his likes. Think about Johnny Bravo, yeah. Johnny Bravo is an idiot, but he's also he's a narcissist, yeah, and a womanizer and blah blah blah. And that's exactly what Gabriel Knight is. He's supposed to be this horror book or novel writer, living in New Orleans and just being full of himself, and it probably translates well into a character that you never fully hear, because in 1993 the original game didn't really have any actual recorded voice. It was just text on screen, and it was cheesy and funny and probably didn't have that much immersion, whereas nowadays you hear this character talk and you can't stand it.
Is it not good voice acting?
Well, it's probably unfair on my point, because once you've seen Beast Within, which was properly acted, and it was still rather cheesy at times. It wasn't your top actorship or anything like this, but still, it was good. Whereas this is like, we're talking about really strong accents. We're talking about just talking forever about completely unimportant things, and we're talking about just back in the golden era of serious point and clicks. The whole concept of these games was different, and it doesn't really, because this is a fairly faithful remake, it doesn't really work this well nowadays with the gamers. You start talking to another character, and you're presented with a list of options, and normally you're just gonna deplete them all, because this is what you do in games like this. You have some sort of investigation. You want to get your clues.
I'm reminded of Mass Effect Andromeda.
Well, sort of, but in this case, you've got an option. So, and it goes pretty much like, Euan, what can you tell me about voodoo?
Well, I can tell you a few things about voodoo. Would you like to know option A?
So what happens next is, you as an NPC has just given me this answer, but the option has not disappeared from my list of options. So I click on it again. Euan, what else can you tell me about voodoo?
I know some things about voodoo.
And it goes like this. At some point you say, I cannot tell you anything more about voodoo. Yeah. And I shall say, Euan, are you sure you cannot tell me anything else about voodoo? And
the fact that you've been given this extra dialogue option probably means that there is something else I have to tell you about voodoo.
Exactly, and that's a problem. An option disappears, you just move on. The option is still there. You don't know whether there's something there, so you just click on it. Chris, just tell me anything at all. This is an option in every dialogue. An option to chat. You know what? Simply because this game is full of humor. Right. Even to the point that every single sort of look up an item, every point and click has got just a lot of various interactive items on screen, and you can just look at them and I don't know, just conduct an action of appraisal or analysis or whatever you call it, and then you get a fully voiced narrator just start making jokes about it. But in this particular case, I don't think it works that well.
No.
It does sound a wee bit ropey.
It's really weird to hear Pawel. That's the second time in a couple of months that I've heard Pawel disappointed about a game series he likes.
It's just
The
because
world is becoming a really depressing place.
He's becoming a big boy.
Don't get me wrong. This is Sins of the Fathers. It's one of the best games, and it's one of the best series. Yeah, I think that in this particular case, it's just faithful remake is probably not what it should have been,
Right.
because they've taken everything that was in the game and just made it prettier. But some of the concepts are outdated. Some of the concepts of how this gameplay should actually
So there's been no
work.
like mechanical updates to it. Is it all just entirely cosmetic what they've done?
I mean, it's a remake. It's not just like a remaster. They've made a game from
remade it,
scratch,
right,
but they've
okay.
taken the actual script. All the conversations, all the locations are the same. And I think this just the concept of having some of these chats, which are the key part of point and click gameplay, is just outdated. I don't know. Meh. But other than that, yeah, I'm having good fun playing it. Another part, I suppose, that actually was translated better into modern age. Back in the 90s, gamers would have much more patience. I'm not sure if you'll agree, but you play a point and click.
yeah, definitely.
You don't have walkthroughs around, and you don't have 100 other games to play.
Aye.
So you just explore this game, and you know what? You may waste 10 hours looking for a clue that you just cannot find until you finally find them. People don't play games like this nowadays, so this 20th anniversary actually comes up with a fairly well done hint mechanic where you can go to your journal and click on the hint, which is a very lightweight hint. It's not going to give you too much, just a tiny little bit to put you in the right course. And then you can go for a second level, but only after, say, a minute or two. So it's not like you can just bash your button until you have very detailed hints what to do in which order. It's going to space it out in time. So that's well done. And other than that, it's, just investigate the voodoo murders and the exotic location of New Orleans. That never gets old. This is a pretty game, and it's got some, like, a proper story behind it, yeah.
So wait, is it still fun? I'm confused now.
I would pick up the original Sins of the Fathers from 1993.
But not the remake.
Not the remake, not the 20th anniversary.
Okay.
20th anniversary you pick up for remastered soundtrack, if you will, and maybe some hints if you can't be bothered.
Is that us?
I think so.
Okay, well, that was Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers. That's by Sierra Online. Classic.
Good old Sierra. Great bunch of lads.
Well, we've not used that phrase in a long time, actually. A great bunch of lads. Yeah, Sierra Online. A great bunch of lads. Brilliant. Right, well, that's episode 55. Another one in the bag, as I like to say. So we will give out all our internet stuff if you want to email us.
Wait, did you just say 65?
55.
55. Could have sworn you said 65. I've just bagged a full 10 in one go.
those 10 will do. If you want to email us, our email address is firstplayertoken@gmail.com. That's FIRST Player Token. We are on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube. We have a Discord, which is discord.me/firstplayertoken. We also now have a PSN community. Woo!
Nice.
So if you want to join our PlayStation Network community, search for us, you'll find us no problem.
I'm not even a member of it yet.
You are, actually.
You added me.
I logged in as you.
Well, I do kind of leave myself open on the PS4 when it comes to that.
Yeah, no PIN number. Rookie
shocking.
mistake.
That's why I'm constantly getting like messages with like free VPNs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
keys
that's
and
me.
Like
That's my problem.
Oh, is that you?
Nah, it's not.
All right. That's not you spamming me.
I'm not giving you spam.
You've just not set up a bunch of bot accounts to annoy me with.
I did get a spam message from on PlayStation, the message network service thing.
See, I was quite surprised to see that on
I think
PS4.
I get some from time to time, yeah.
I reported them, and then PlayStation said, "Nah, we don't see anything wrong with this." I'm like, "You're fucking joking."
That's obviously spam.
That's obviously spam.
Well, because a lot of them are trying to share like keys for PS4 games. It's like, why would you not be clamping down on that?
Anyway, our social media stuff, it's all the larger than necessary first player token or first player token, the exception being Twitter, which is at 1ST player token.
Which is once the player token.
Thank you very much,
to
Euan.
avoid any confusion.
You can also find us on Twitch. That's Unnecessary Chris, so that's my Twitch channel. If you want to watch us, we sometimes play board games and I sometimes play video games on there. And we are part of the Podnose Network.
The UK's leading entertainment podcast network.
Very, very nice, Euan.
Keep it smooth. And we're glad to be there, and check out all of the quality podcasts on there, as well as us, because we're the best.
There's a load of really good podcasts on there, and we're there as well.
That's right.
Okay, so next week we will have a board games episode.
Update.
That should be out on Monday, so look forward to that. Hey, I don't want any of these doubting noises.
We have faith.
That'll be out on Monday.
I'm channeling the audience here.
Maybe Tuesday. So yes, until then, thanks for listening.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.